All right, here we go. This is Bitcoin. This is what it has been doing. This is what it is going to do. Now, you might be looking at this chart and say, oh, Bitcoin's only gone up. No, that's not true. Bitcoin has gone down, and not just in the way it looks here. Note how this graph looks. See how these are like this. These are all spaced out. This is 10,000, 100,000, 10,000. The difference between 10,000 and 1,100, right? This is not a consistent graph. This is a stretched out graph, and it's stretched out for a reason. This is the highest Bitcoin will go. This is the lowest. It hits against these boom, 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 like a tennis ball against two walls. Boom, 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 boom. It's what it's been doing. Now, I could be wrong. It could just be like boom, boom, boom. Right? It could do that, sure. Or it could go, right? But historically, mathematically, it has not. Now, why does it do this? Well, because it looks good. Literally, because it looks good. People buying and selling Bitcoin are looking at this graph. And whenever it gets too low, they buy it. And whenever it gets too high, they sell it. So they make the graph come true because the graph exists. It's a silly little thing, but basically put, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You're poor because you have no money. You have no money because you don't have a good job. You don't have a good job because you're not in a good area. You're not in a good area because you don't have any money, right? So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what this is. The very rich people, right? The very rich, the 1%, right? The people who really have all the money, right? They look at this graph. They love graphs and stuff like this. And they make graphs come true out of their own arrogance and whatever. I don't care if they do it because they're goofy goobers. I don't care if they do it because they're silly billies or because they're geniuses beyond my wildest imagination. It does not matter. What matters is that it will follow this because they say it will follow this, because they think it'll follow this. They think everybody else is looking at this graph because everybody else who has money is looking at this graph. And they are doing the same things in tandem. They do this with stock prices too, but Bitcoin, it's not tied to any actual company that has like actual products or actual things that can, like, oh, we miss sales and it's something that we can't do or whatever, right? Actual stocks of actual companies have real world limiting factors. Bitcoin does not. It is purely speculation. And the speculation is that it will fall between these lines. And these lines line up. And because people believe it will fall between these lines, it will fall between these lines. Because whenever it gets too low, people say it's a great time to buy. And whenever it gets too high, people say it's a great time to sell. This green line's in the middle, that's an average right there. If it's below this green line, buy it. If it's above this green line, hold it or sell it, whatever. But it's going to continue going up. There's no stopping it. It will go to 100,000. It will go higher, especially if there's any sort of events like uh, government approval, government's buying it. Now this government accepts. If the governments really get on board, um, it might get even more than this, and there's no amount of wishy-washiness. If everybody starts doing Bitcoin, it'll go up. That's the only place. The only way it goes below this is if all the governments say Bitcoin is the devil, we hate it, and it's illegal, and if you own it, we're going to tie you up and beat you with socks filled with nickels, right? Outside of that, it's going up. And if that's about to happen, the writing is on the wall, right? Uh, mini Tekla or whatever it is, the writing is on the wall. Um, you'll know if it's going to go down. Everybody will know if it's going to go down. And if you hold it for long enough before it goes down, you'll be able to sell it at least what you paid for it. So long as it doesn't go down the day after you bought it, right? So long as it doesn't start to go down a week after you buy it, right? It will be high enough that you will be able to put a stop loss or whatever on it and be able to catch or sell the falling knife, right? You'll be able to, oh no, the US government and the European government and the Chinese government were like, Bitcoin is illegal. And if you have Bitcoin, oh, you're going to regret it. Um, you'll be able to sell it all before it hits that, because if it gets to that point, that's not something that happens overnight. That's not something that, you know, whoever the next president is or the European Union, they're just going to wake up out of a fever dream and be like, oh my God, we got to make Bitcoin illegal, right? It's going to be a long, drawn out process. It's going to be so obvious that even dummies like me and you will be able to see it, right? Because they don't want to sell all their valuable asset that is, this is an asset that's constantly increasing. Who's going to turn against an asset that's constantly increasing? What rich person can say, oh, this asset's currently increasing at an exponential rate, I think I want to destroy it? No, they want to keep it and hold it and make more money. This is valuable for everybody because it's not tied to a company. It's not tied to anything real. Therefore, just like with the dollar bill, it has inflation. Just like with the euro, was that the euro? It has inflation, right? Just like your little yens and your pins and all your little monies, it has inflation. Money is inherently inflationary. It always goes up, not in value, but in number. The number always goes up. How much is a gallon of milk today? What? It depends where you go. Like $3, $4, $5. It really depends wildly. How much was it in 1988? What, like $1, right? It's the number always goes up because humans like numbers, and numbers always go up because look at this graph. It always goes up. That's how numbers work. That's how people work. That's how the human brain, right? The human brain is always thinking, you know what? Number go up. That's it. That's sociology, that's psychology, that's everything all tied together. If you really want the real deal, if you really want to know about Bitcoin, it's going to go up and it's going to continue to go up unless something wild happens. And if it does, you should have already held it for long enough that you'll be able to sell it before it goes past what you paid for it. That's it. End of story. Done.